Good morning. It is Thursday, April 30th. We are working on day 22 lessons today. I'm Mrs. Hill. Most of you know that because you're in my class. And this is Little Tweet, and most of you know that too because you're in my class. But if you're not in my class, welcome to Learning with Little Tweet. I'm glad you're joining us today. Hopefully this helps you guys to get through some of your learning today. So here we go. Let's talk about what we need. So we're doing reading and word work, and you don't need a whole lot. You do need our trees in our community song. You might want to look at your places we can find trees pictures down here, but we are going to be looking at them on the screen as well. Your writing will be on this paper. So at the top it says day 22. And this is where you're going to write about our song trees in our community, and where we can find trees in the community. So you'll need this paper. And then for word work, we're going to do the word hopping. You know, when we write the words with chalk, we write them on cards, and you guys can practice hopping on them. So they keep asking us to use a kindergarten word list. I do not see one of those. So what I've said to you guys before is you can pull a word list that your teacher has given you. So if you're in my class, maybe your Buddy's Bones or any of the other word lists that we've been working on, or just words that you have at home. Like if you have your own word list of words that are just right for you that you're working on, you could use that. Or you can just use our Cycle 20 word list right here, and then add these 3 sight words that they gave us, okay? That's what I'm gonna do. So you'll need some sort of word list, and then either chalk or index cards, or cut up little pieces of paper that you can put down on the ground and hop on those. And then of course you need a pencil, but I think that's it. All right, guys. Go ahead and pause the video and get your materials. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is sing our Trees in Our Community song. Now, the first time I sang it all by myself. I would love for you to sing it with me if you can read these words or if you've remembered part of it. So it sounds a lot like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but instead it's all about trees. All right, now after we sing it, we're going to be talking about what the main idea of this poem is. So while we're singing, I want you to be thinking about that. Here we go. Oak tree in the park. See the ants crawl up the bark. Willows grow beside the stream. They keep water clear and clean. Maple near the street. Leaves change colors, it's so neat. Quaking aspen outside a home keeps it safe from wind and storm. Paper birch trees on the path use a stick to draw and scratch. Trees in our community give the world joy and beauty. Find a tree and then you'll see how lovely and helpful trees can be. Awesome job. I hope you sang with me. Little Tweet, why didn't you sing? You were supposed to sing with me. He's like, nope, I'm not singing. All right, well, I hope you sang at home, and I think we might be doing that again another day, perhaps, so you can practice singing it with me then. Or, you know what? Maybe you can sing it with someone in your family. All right, so here is what we're going to do next. Next, it wants us to look at these pictures of places where you can find trees. And then we're going to begin talking about kind of the main idea of both of these and where you might find trees in your community. So let's just, the reason why we're looking at it up here is because these pictures on your paper, they're really small and in black and white, and it's a little bit hard to see. So we're going to look at them up here in this video.
Let's look at the pictures in places where we can find trees. Look at this picture.
Okay. So, where are the trees in this picture? Ooh, we get to use some of our positional words here. I see a tree next to the house. Do you guys have any trees around your house? Or maybe somewhere in your neighborhood?
Look at some other
Oops.
pictures in the document, places where we can find trees.
Okay.
What do you notice about these pictures?
This is really interesting. Let's take a good look here. So that is a playground. Oh, goodness. I keep unpausing it. That is a playground right there with lots of trees around it. I want you to think about a playground that maybe you've been to before, like perhaps Holbrook Park or even the kindergarten courtyard. Are there any trees there? Yes, there are. Now, this picture is a little confusing to me because they are definitely inside a building and there are lots of trees inside that building. Not very many buildings would have trees inside of them, and I cannot tell what kind of building this is. But some buildings definitely do have trees. Like sometimes hotels can have trees inside of them, or museums, or even shopping malls can have trees inside of them. But that's interesting. I can't think of a place that I know of specifically that has trees inside. Well, at Huntersville, we actually do have some fake trees inside. I wonder if those count. I'm not sure if fake trees count or not. Okay, let's move on.
Here's one more picture to look at from the document.
Okay, so here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing a hill and two trees on the hill, but then I also notice there's a building in the background. So I wonder if this is like near a city, perhaps. And then sometimes like open fields and hills can have trees on them. You don't have to have a whole forest altogether, right? Sometimes you just have a couple trees that are a little bit more spread out. All right, let's see what comes next. Oh, that's it? Okay.
Now that you've had a chance to reread the poem and look at the pictures, let's think about it. What is the main topic of the poem, Trees in Our Community?
All right, so that's what we're going to do next. Let's go ahead and get our papers that we're working on. Let's see if I can find where I put them. Okay, here we go. So now you're going to get the paper that says day 22. And the first question says, use evidence from the text to support your thinking. What is the main topic in Trees in Our Community? So let me get that poem back in front of us so we can take a look at it. We already yesterday discussed how this poem has a lot of different kinds of trees in it, right? Oak tree, weeping willows, maple, quaking aspen, paper birch. But we didn't really talk about what else the poem says. So here it says, see the ants crawl. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oak tree in the park. Oh, so it's telling us where the trees are and maybe some ways that they help the creatures and the community around them. Here, this one says, willows grow beside the stream, maple near the street, quaking aspen outside a home, paper birch trees on the path. So it tells specific places where these trees are around the community. Then the last part says, trees in our community give the world joy and beauty. Find a tree and then you'll see how lovely and helpful trees can be. So I think this last part really does give us a big clue about what the main idea of this poem is. It says, trees in our community give us joy and beauty, and they can be really lovely and helpful. So how can we write that? We don't have to necessarily have all of those ideas, but let's see if we can come up with a main idea for our poem. I think I'm going to write, and you know what? I'm going to write trees in our community are lovely and helpful. How about that? I can take words right from the poem. I'm not copying exactly, but I can say trees. How about I say trees are all over our community and they are lovely and helpful. All right. I'm going to go ahead and write that. Trees are all over. Now, community is a big word. Guess what? Community. Here, there's the word. Our community. That is a big word. This might be tricky for some of you, and that's okay. Just do your best, guys. Trees are all over our community. And you know what? You actually could just leave it at that. That is pretty much the main idea. But if you wanted to add more, you could say they are beautiful and helpful. Okay? All right, let's move on to our next. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're not going to move on to our next question. Here's what we're going to do. You are going to pause the video and you're going to go ahead and do that first part. Now, like I said, you definitely can use your poem to get some book spelling, and especially if you just write this one sentence, trees are all over our community. I think you guys should be able to do that, and you can use book spelling, and I will even leave this right here in case you want to, use some ideas from what I already wrote. All right, go ahead and pause the video and write your sentence. Okay, the next question says, where is a place where you can find trees in your community? Now, the poem gave us some ideas of places that you can look, and even when we looked at the pictures on the screen, it gave us some ideas. But here it talks about in the park, maybe by a creek or a stream. Maybe you have trees on your street or near your home. So go ahead and think about where you have trees in your community. I'm going to go ahead and write tree. Let's see, what should I don't even need to write in a complete sentence probably. Let's see, I could just write in the park. It also says in here that you can draw where you see trees in your community. So let's go ahead, pause the video, and work on that next question. All right, everybody, it's time for our word work for today. It is another day of hopping on sight words, okay? Now, we've done that several times now, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining what to do, but I'm just going to remind you that if you don't have a word list of sight words that you're working on at home, you can use this word list right here, Cycle 20 word list, and I would add these words too. That's the word there, they, and where. Those are awesome words to really glue in your brain because you'll use those a lot in your reading and writing if you don't already know them. Maybe you can read them really well, but you haven't learned how to spell them yet. Those are good ones to practice. So here's what you're going to do. You are either going to get some chalk and write the words from your word list on your sidewalk, kind of spread them out so you can hop on them, or you're going to write them on cards to prepare for your hopping game, okay? Once you have your cards prepared, you can practice hopping on your words like frogs and reading them, and then try to do it super speedy. And if you have trouble with the word, they say you're supposed to go back to the beginning and try again. All right? So you guys can go ahead and do that on your own and have lots of fun practicing those words. I'll see you a little bit later for math and social studies.